Alright, welcome back to another video by Firestarter Graphics and Engineering. Today this is going to be a different video than the last ones you've seen. We're actually going to talk about Cura. And what is Cura? It's a slicer for 3D printers. So, this is specifically geared towards those who own a Tornado Tevo. Actually, let's flip that around. A Tevo Tornado, just like this says. So when you download Cura, I'm running version 4.0. It's going to first, when you install it and open it up, it's first going to ask you what kind of printer do you have. You'll want to hit Other, and then go to Tevo and then Tornado. But if it's not there, you can always click on the profile for CR10. So let's go ahead and just kind of look at some of that. Okay, so when it first starts up, it's going to ask for printers. And if you were to hit Add, this is what it brings up. Okay, at the very beginning. And you're going to come down to Other and you're going to hit Tevo Tornado. However, they may not have that one, so you want to find the Creality CR10 because this is an exact, I wouldn't say an exact, it's a clone. So you click that one and then you just hit Add Printer and then hit OK. You don't need to change any of the other settings. However, once this is added, there's one thing you do have to change once it's been added. You want to go to Machine Settings. Make sure this is 300, 300 by 400, 20, 10, 10, 10, and 30. Yes. Heated bed, don't click this. G-code flavor is Marlin, but what we're interested in is this end G-code. Yes, and my birds agree with it. Every time they see me pull out the microphone, they know it's time to talk, so they're going to join the conversation, so don't mind them. Piece that we're interested in changing is this X value. It used to say 320, but I have found when it finishes the print and it moves the print head or the extruder to the far right along the X-axis, so what is that going to be? I lost my train of thought. Oh well, it goes along that its rail, and then it hits the far end and it goes and it grinds because it thinks it needs to go further, but it doesn't. So I put this at 300. That's all I did, and it stops at. So it stops right at the 300 millimeter mark without freaking out. Okay. So once you have that, you just hit close. Then for me, what I did is I go to Materials, and you hit Create New. Okay, and you can choose a color, the type. You're going to give it a name. This one is going to be Hatchbox Gray because that's the color, and the brand is Hatchbox. Material type. Filament cost. This needs to be changed to US. And is that under settings or is that under general? Currency. Underneath general, let's change that to a $sign. Okay, perfect. Materials. Okay, now it's changed. We're good. That's if you're in the States. If you use the other currency, be sure to put it in there. It tells you everything you need to know. Yeah. So you can pick it, and this is the one I use for my default, and then we're good. Okay. So then when you close everything, and the screen's going to look like this. You're going to have your 300 by 300 by 400. Basic print settings are up here. Your quality, your infill, a few others. Well, let's bring in some objects. So I'm going to go ahead, go to OneDrive, 3D printing, STLs, Tevo Tornado. Okay, universal. Okay, I'm going to bring in all three of these. You can highlight them all, drag and drop. It's going to go ahead, and the person who designed these, I don't know if you can see this, they've cut the edge of this thread off so we don't need supports. That was a smart idea. So it's going to load your model or models in this. Now it is recommended that this centerpiece right here, this entire center model, has a 40% infill. It could still be on 0.3, it doesn't matter. but they recommend 40% on this, and then the others can be at 25 or 20. So notice that whenever I click on each one, this 40% stays. I'll show you how to change that for each individual part in just a moment, but let's go over some print properties. So when you first click on this, it's going to bring up bare basics, where it's going to say, hey, here's your layer height, pick what you want, and then your infill percentage, and that's it. And it's going to not, you click here, it's not going to show what kind of pattern. But if you really want to get into the advanced settings, you go to custom. This is where you go to quality, and it's going to show at first just layer height. If you want to show more, you hit this little cog, this little gear, and then you select which ones you want it to show. Okay, so I always have it show these two. The others I'll add later on, but right now this two is fine. These two, I should say, not this two. These two options. So what you're going to want to do is go to infill. Go here, make sure that density and pattern are both selected, and this is where you can change the type. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy. You can go through here and show all the other ones. I would recommend for initial layer speed at least 15 is really good, 15 to 20, or if you're in a hurry, 30 is fine. But if you notice, if you put 20 in here, it puts this down to 10. It's always half of what you put for print speed by default. So 0.3 prints at 60 millimeters per second. Now, if you wanted to control other things, you could totally, you could add these other ones in there. Infill speed. If it's just a concept part, just to show what it's going to look like, and you want to print stupid fast, do infill speed, probably like 100 millimeters a second. I have some really good settings that I used on my other slicer software from my other printer that I could print stupid fast on the inside, but the outside looked really nice. Definitely not accurate to like tolerance string and whatnot, so don't use it for prototyping, but just concept, it's fine. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to leave it at 60-30 for right now. So, and when you've set what you want, if you go to material, build plate, I always stick it at 60 and 210 here for Utah because of our climate. And right now, it's our wet season, so yeah, those should be fine. Enable retraction, yes sir. Okay, alright, it's all fine and dandy. Now everything is set. If we were to hit slice, everything would be set for this 40%. Let's do this. If you click on our, don't do this to me. There we go. Click on the model, and if you go to, I gotta find it, right here, per model settings, is the one that has the 3. Yeah, click it. Then you'll go to select settings, keep it under normal model, mesh type. You know what, let's hit close, let's see what mesh type is. Print as support. Don't know these ones yet. I've just barely started using Cura. I've never used it, so let's leave that there. So you're gonna want to do infill density and pattern. Okay, so that part, that's fine there. Now we're gonna click on that one, infill density and pattern, and you're gonna hit close. We're gonna type in 20, hit enter, click on this one, select settings, infill and infill pattern, close, go ahead and hit 20, hit enter, go ahead and click off them all. Now if we click on this one, it'll override it. Still says 40 up here, but that's fine, it's overridden. Click on, man, I don't know what's up with that model. Okay, click on this one, it still says 40 and 20. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is before you Well, you can do it at any point in time, but I always do it before I slice. You're going to go ahead and hit save. And it's going to ask, and it's going to save it in a .3mf file, which is one that you can always open and check settings in it and then re-slice it if needs be. I don't know if the Tevo Tornado can read a 3mf file. I know it can just read the G code. So you're going to want to do is, okay, it says 4 hours 56 minutes, 75 grams or 25.21 meters. Man, that's a lot of meter of filament. Holy crap. You're going to hit preview, and it's going to do the famous, we forgot to talk about one thing, and I'll show you here in a second. So you can verify that 20% and 40%. So, okay, let's talk a second about this skirt. So, go back into your settings, build plate adhesion, skirt and skirt line count. I always do 3 to 4. And what this is for parts like this, if it's going to be a more accurate part, I'll do probably 5. And what this does is, this goes around, it primes the nozzle, and it allows you to see if filament's coming out and if any of it's getting too squished and what it looks like. So that way you know the filament is flowing correctly. Okay, and if you wanted to, if you hit back to here, you can, oh yeah, if we scroll down to, let's say, layer 82, and we rewind this and you hit play, this is the print head, and you'll see it trace in real time, like how long it's going to take. You can see that's the movement speed. I mean, if you really wanted to, you'd sit here for the whole 5 hours and watch this thing print layer by layer. It would be boring, but you could do it. So, nifty little feature. Okay, so once once it's been sliced, you can make changes, but you just have to hit slice again. You're just going to hit save the file, and this is going to save the profile name in front of it. Like mine will say TT for Tevo Tornado, and then you just give it a name, whatever it saved it as. You know, see, like right here, TT spool holder vertical, right here. I could hit edit, and I could change it to something else, but I'm not gonna right now. And you hit save, and it's going to ask for a location. Now, if you have an SD card reader, save it to the SD card that comes with the Tornado or whatever one you're using. Save it onto there, and then all you have to do is remove it from the PC and shove it back into the Tevo, and you're good to go. So, X-ray view. Ooh, that's nifty. Huh. Okay, so I like layer view. I always have. I like seeing what the inside's gonna look like, you know. It's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. And since this thing, if you haven't calibrated it yet using the XYZ calibration cube to where you can get within 2 or 3 decimal places of 20 millimeters, some parts that have threads, like this one, I had to scale to 99% instead of, oh wait, no, I just barely opened these. You know, I'll scale this one to 99, because if you don't, it'll be way too, the tolerances will be way too much for it to index into its proper place. Trying to say this in the most appropriate way so I don't get an age restriction on this video. Okay, so as of right now, those are basic settings of how to get started. Really pretty simple. So thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you out.